This is Danny Flexon here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by top trainer, good friend, good man, Mark Tibbs. How you doing, mate?
Lovely, Daniel. Thank you very much. Yourself?
I'm good, mate. I'm really good. Big things happening. You've got a show. You haven't got a show. Matchroom have got a show at the end of October with a couple of your fighters on it. Latest step for Johnny Fisher, fight number 7, but first since he's come back from his injury, I believe. What do you make of it? What are you looking to see from Johnny now? Because you expect him to win these fights, given the level of opposition, how good he is. But what are you looking to see in terms of his development?
Well, his last couple of fights, he's been more calmer, more measured, and he's found the shots to put these guys away. You know, with good distance. This fight, I still want same sort of thing. I would like that long distance stuff where it is right now, but I would like him to mix it up with the Romford ball itself. So box fight at the right time. So and be very, very mindful of the second phase, if you know what I'm saying. So get measure, sting, and wallop straight on him. But a little bit Romford bully, but he should be more compact and know where his shots are going with 4 knuckles contact, if you know what I mean. That's what I'm hoping for.
Do you find with Johnny that people, kind of fans especially, maybe want to rush him a bit more than some of the other heavyweight prospects, just because he is huge personality, big ticket seller? I was surprised when I looked at his record earlier that he has only had 6 fights still.
Yeah, no, I don't feel the public or ourselves or his management want to rush him whatsoever. They understand he's very, very honest, Johnny Fisher. He's very, very honest where he is in his career and his limited background. So I think because he's honest, he's upfront. I think people warm to him for that reason. But listen, he's everyone's doing their bit for him for Johnny Fisher behind the scenes to update his pedigree and boxing ability, and I'm very happy the way he's coming on so far. Yeah.
You talked about his limited background there. How much do you think that can be compensated or mitigated by really high quality sparring? Because we know John's been in with some of the best heavyweights in the country.
Yeah, well, the thing is, look, because you spar with world champions, don't mean to say you're going to be a world champion. And you've got to have good people around him to manage that spar, and to manage the opposition. Good rapport. You've got to have good rapport with the other teams, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And good understanding of both teams. You don't just sling him in with a Deontay Wilder or things like that, you know what I mean? But just, that ain't how it works. But Johnny himself would be brave enough to jump in there for sure. But, it's when you've got a Johnny Fisher on your hands, and I'm very happy. Listen, I'm very happy with the way he's developing his development. And I can't grumble. I mean, him himself, he's got a warrior's mindset. And like I say, big art, and a digger. And he's obviously very, very popular. And I feel that he's developing. So we have to hone it and manage it and bring him along to title contention. And that will happen. As you say, you just said he's had 6 fights, and his next fight on the 29th at the O2 will be 7th professional fight.
And also on that show at the O2, you've got John Hedges. He's only 20 years old. It seems crazy because he turned pro quite young after all those junior titles. Very, very good fighter, clearly very talented. But in the last couple of fights, he's starting to get guys out of there as well. Is that due to moving up in weight? Is it him developing and maturing? What do you put it down to?
Well, I put it down to a bit of maturing. He's doing very good work with our strength and conditioner, Sonny Cannon, but it's probably to do with a little bit of everything, but mostly confidence with his offensive work. So you know, every little bit helps, and you just got to understand and manage it all. And like you say, he's 20 years old, and he's 20 years old. John knows how to carry himself in all walks of life. You know, I don't call him the gentleman for nothing. But he's absolutely a superior boxer. At 6'6", southpaw, he's a superior boxer. And at only 20 years old, if he keeps doing what he's doing, he's going to understand and have the confidence to have it on the front foot as well as he does on the back foot. And you know, and he understands opposition very, very, very well because of that amateur pedigree he's got. It's done him in good stead. Yeah.
How careful do you have to be when you're kind of making the matches for John? Because as he is so young, he's probably still got a bit of time before all that man strength comes through. Do you have to be quite careful early on in his career?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a joint effort. To be fair, Dan. I mean, I'm Johnny's trainer, boxing trainer and coach, and you know, I manage his training for training camp and S-Jam and Shane Watson at S-Jam, along with Adam Morali, they feed me, they feed us opponents for their guys, and collectively we give them the thumbs up or the thumbs down. But funny you should say that. Johnny Hedges' opponent has pulled out today, the one we was expecting to fight against. But listen, what the two Johnnies have got to understand is that this happens earlier on in their careers. This is nothing new. What they should embrace is with BoxRec and YouTube today. They're like, we didn't have that back in the day. We got a change of opponent on the day of the fight, and you know, we just trusted our matchmaker, you know, that worked with our promotion group to you know, we got the nod, and that's who you're fighting, and we got on with it. So this has happened to Johnny Hedges actually today. He's got a change of opponent, and well, we actually ain't got an opponent yet, but we're looking at opponents now for the 29th at the O2 for Johnny Hedges, as his old opponent has is not going to make the fight for some reason or another.
Now, talking of opponents, one who is confirmed is for Ebanie Bridges in December. That's a couple of months away still, but she's got, obviously, as a world title, as a world champion, that they get sorted out a lot earlier, and fingers crossed it stays that way. She's defending her IBF Bantamweight Championship against Shannon O'Connell. Two Australians fighting in Leeds, which I wouldn't have thought we'd see, but I'm sure it'll be a very entertaining fight. What do you make of Ebanie? And compared to other fighters you've had in the past, where does she sit in terms of how much they've improved while they've been working with you?
Well, Ebanie, I've only had one fight with Ebanie, and that was for our world title fight in Leeds, you know, when she won the world title. So it was all very new, and I've never trained a girl before, but I treated her like one of the fellas, and it was quite different to training men in many ways. But what she does have over all my prospects at the moment, she's got she's won the world title, but she has got she's 35 years old, so she's travelled, she's worldly, so that goes a long way with in this fight business, you know, with experience, you know what I mean? But we're facing Shotgun Shannon. Is that her name? Shotgun Shannon? Shannon the Cat. So I'm actually really got the buzz for this fight, because I've had a look at this opponent, and we have got our work cut out. She is very, very experienced, but you know, Ebanie, since Ebanie's won that world title, she is 3 times the fighter than she was when she won it. And she needed to be, because for me, I felt that a lot of her work was rushed, and therefore her shots, you know, wasn't landing as good as I think they could. And we've had a lot of time. We actually thought we was fighting on the 24th of September. We got prepared for that for a voluntary, but then the IBF forced us a mandatory, and obviously we're getting on with the mandatory now. But that's done us. That's done me as a coach and Ebanie as a fighter a gave us more time to hone in on what I feel Ebony is capable of and better at doing than she was doing before. So I really got, and yesterday I really got the flavour for this fight with the two Aussies in Leeds. I can't wait.
Are you kind of relieved it's not over in Australia? Would you have fancied that really long flight?
To be fair, Dan, you know what it is, because I've been a fighter myself, and I kind of get there is a process to all these camps and wherever they are in their life, in their boxing career, and it is a journey. But once you've got a date for a battle, wherever it is in the world, you know, you just get your head down, you get on with it, and you oversee, you make sure you're happy with the arrangements, and we've got enough time to acclimatise, etc. And we get on with it. You know, I've been to America, I've been to Austria, I've been to Europe, I've been all round, and you know, lucky enough, fortunate enough, I've been around, so you kind of get accustomed to it. But I actually thought Ebony would have initially, when I heard of her defending her title, it could happen in Australia. I thought she might have gone with that, but she's made the UK her home right now, and she's doing good. She's networking really good over here at the moment, you know, in and out of boxing. So she wants to make this a life at the moment. So I'm happy to obviously, it's easier for me to train her here than go to Australia. But I'd like to go to Australia and defend it over there with Ebony at some point. But at the moment, we've got to get a nut down and crack on with what we've got in front of us, and that's in Leeds on the 10th of December, I think. Is that right, Dan?
December,
yeah.
You guys have done a wonderful job together, clearly. You work a bit with Elbrook as well. As a traditionalist in boxing, did you need a bit of convincing at first to start working with female fighters as well as the men?
Well, to be fair, you know, Dan, what it was, as I say, I wasn't a lover of women boxing, being you know of the old school. You know, being of the old school. I'm 53-year-old, so you can imagine where, you know, my old system and that, and its beliefs sort of thing. But as time went on, Katie Taylor, you know, Katie Taylor, she actually, I couldn't help but admire the way she fights. And since Katie Taylor come on the scene, then that was me taking a lot of notice of women boxing. Actually, when I worked with Dillian White, he watched a few females, American fighters, and you know, we watched them at times, and then I couldn't help but admire Ebony's fight against Shannon Courtney. I thought she'd done a wonderful job in that fight, and I actually met Ebony later on after that fight, and I told her, you know, how I thought she did in that fight, and I also thought where she could have done things better as well. But I didn't tell her that, and not until we started to work with each other, sort of thing. Yeah.
When you were a pro, because we've just seen the all-female card, boxer card on Sky Sports, historic thing for the UK, and has done really well viewing-wise. But when you were a pro, was there any kind of women's scene in the UK? Do you remember anyone about, really?
Yeah, there was actually Jane Couch. Remember Jane Couch?
Yeah.
Jane Couch. I think she probably was the one to start off the female boxing in the UK. We had a girl boxer in the Peacock Gym. Forgive me, I can't remember her name, but I can see her clearly right now. She was a girlfriend of one of the professional fighters, Rocky Dean, actually. Rocky Dean.
Okay, yeah, I remember Rocky Dean.
Yeah, Rocky Dean, and she was Shaney. Her name was Shaney.
Oh, Shaney Martin.
Shaney Martin. Well done, Dan.
Yeah, I've pulled it out of memory banks.
Yeah. So I remember Shaney Martin, and then, but shortly after, Jane Couch, I'm pretty sure, she was the lady that for me kicked off women's boxing. Although I wasn't a lover of it because it wasn't so popular. But as I say, in the last couple of years, Katie Taylor got me looking at boxing, and I thought, you know, I've been into Loughborough University and been around the country and around Europe, boxing. I've had an opportunity to train some German girls from boxing, or a German girl, I should say. She did pretty well. Can't think of her name now, but I wasn't. It didn't excite me back then. So you got to move with the times, or you get left behind.
Glad to hear it. Now, obviously, we talked about your state. Actually, no, we haven't talked about Tommy Fletcher. What's the latest with him? When are we going to see him next out?
Well, Tommy had a fight recently on a BT. Well, he was on the Joe Joyce card.
Yeah.
He was on that one.
Joyce Parker.
And Joyce Parker. And Joe, what we had a slot from 6 to 10. So before the main fight, if the fights were, coming up short,
like a live float.
Live float. Anyway, we never got out till 12 o'clock, midnight. But you know what? I was very, very myself and Sonny Cannon and what's my dad there? Jimmy. Yeah, my dad was there. My dad as well. My dad was working with Joyce that night as well.
Oh yeah, he was in Joyce's corner. Yeah, of course.
We never ever thought that Tommy would get on, but we acted like he was. And to be fair, he really passed for me. He passed and ticked boxes for me that night because he never let it get him down. We went into a dressing room that was full of buzzing undercard fighters, but we was the last ones there. Yeah, but he went out and he got a 2-round, I think, no, a 3-round. It was a 4-round fight. The referee jumped in at the end of the third, which was rightly so. He started to bang his opponent up. But I expected him to put that guy away. But I believe if we got on between 6 and 10 p.m., he would have put him away in a little bit more better fashion. Done it anyway. And you'll ask me why. I'll tell you why. Because we fueled him, as in, we fueled him for a certain time slot. And about 11 o'clock p.m. that night, Tommy went to me, Mark, I'm starving hungry. Oh, I didn't hear that. Do you know what I mean? And so we rummaged around and we got bits and pieces to fuel him. And but no, I'm not taking nothing away from his performance. He done a marvellous performance and he got the measure. He went up and down and put the guy away. As I say, the referee jumped in but see, I knew he would do that. And the thing was, what his attitude towards being on late, he just was buzzing the fight. We was watching the Joyce in the aisles, the Joyce Parker fight. We was watching the Joyce fight, but he was warming up, waiting to get out, get ready. And I still didn't think he was going to fight then, but no. And I spoke to Tommy Fletcher this morning actually, and he's just come back from a break holiday after his fight. He's had a 5-day break, and I'm expecting to talk to SJM tomorrow. They are his managers, so I will talk to SJM tomorrow and see when he's out next. But I understand that BT and Frank wanted him out before Christmas, so I'm looking forward to that. Good prospect.
Yeah,
very 6'7" southpaw, big puncher.
Heavy-handed.
20-year-old Deontay Wilder power. Telling you.
I'll note it down. Just talking about some stuff outside your stable. Arguably the two best British heavyweights, both out in action in December. At least that's the plan at the moment. Joshua and Fury. Joshua, it's been revealed earlier today, I think, that there's maybe talks with Chris Arreola as an opponent. I've heard Gerald Washington mentioned as well. Kind of a bit of a step down from the opposition he's been noted to face in his time as champion, of course. What do you make of this kind of rebuild of Joshua, if you like?
Well, yeah, it's the first I've heard of them kind of matches, but yeah, it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do. So this is the first I've heard of it, but yeah, no, that seems about right. He's been under par, hasn't he? Very under par and very up and down under par, and mentally, yeah, if that's what they want to do with him, rebuild him, and not just sling him in and let's hope and pray he's going to come over Fury or whoever is going to be his opponent. Yeah, he seems like he must be hungry to have a look and rebuild again. So why not? Good opponents for him. Yeah.
Good stuff. And Fury, they're almost certainly going to fight Derek Chisora for a third time. The first fight, they were both very young, quite a competitive fight. I seem to remember vaguely. I think it was on Channel 5. But the second one, I was at that one, and it just went on far too long. I think he was finally retired at the end of round 10, Chisora, and just completely dominated. And since then, he's had mixed fortunes. Fury's obviously gone on to great things. It just seems like a very difficult fight to sell, even though Fury's a superstar. What do you make of them going at it once again?
Well, someone asked me this about 3 months ago. I was in Sheffield. Was at a boxing show in Sheffield, and one of the reporters asked me about this fight, and I thought he was just not having a laugh, but I couldn't see how. Yeah. So. Yeah, no. To be fair, it's not a fight I would want to see myself, to tell the truth. And but Fury is a draw, isn't he? He's a draw. He's a pull. He's a showman. So I think he's reached out to AJ, gave him a great offer that you couldn't see, that he couldn't refuse, and we never thought he would refuse that fight. It would have been a great fight. That would have been a seller, a big time. And who else? Who else has reached out? He reached out Tyson to fight? He's reached out to a few people. I mean, Deontay Wilder, he's just had a good win, hasn't he?
Yeah, just this weekend against Helenius, come back, good knockout.
I never saw it. I didn't think he'd knock him out of a round, to tell the truth, because Helenius can box a bit. You know what I mean? But the clip I saw, he took it to Wilder, and that's working. Yeah,
they're talking about Wilder maybe fighting Usyk now. I mean, that seems like a strange one in that you can't see Wilder winning many rounds, but as long as he's on his feet, he's still got a chance of winning.
I'd like to see that fight, Wilder and Usyk. I'd like to see that. He's got a puncher's chance, hasn't he? He's got a puncher's chance, and he can box a little bit. I mean, I just said something there. If you push Wilder back on the back foot, he's lost, to the truth. But obviously, he's put a right hand on the end of Helenius' chin. Was it a right or a left hook? It
was a right, but you've got to be smart with it, haven't you? Like Fury showed that you can pressure him, but you've got to be smart as you come forward.
You have to. You can't just walk in with your head up. I think you're going to get yours off. It's coming. But what did you say now? Who was you talking about?
Wilder against Usyk. You said you'd like to see it.
I'd like to see that, Wilder and Usyk. I feel that Usyk could work him out, but it adds the excitement of a puncher's chance by Wilder. So yeah, I'd like to see that fight for sure. Yeah.
How much of a threat do you think Big Joe Joyce is to some of these top guys, so Fury, Joshua, and Usyk?
I think he's a big threat, Dan. A massive threat. He's just big. He's a giant. He's a giant. He's a giant, and his chin is granite, as we all know. So I feel Joe Joyce is the #1 biggest threat out there because of his size as well. And I like to see him fight Fury. I'd rather see that. Yeah. I'd like to see him Fury. I'd like to see Joyce for Wilder. Joyce and Usyk. They're the fights I'd like to see. You know what I'm saying?
Just anything involving Joe Joyce, basically.
Well, he's getting on a bit, And is he #1 now? He's #1 now, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's interim champion now for WBO.
And he's knocking on the door of all them big fights. And yeah, and yeah, I thought Joyce was very impressive, his last fight with Joe Parker. Yeah. Very courageous by Parker as well. So they both gave a good show. Yeah.
Good stuff. Now, I have to ask you about kind of the biggest boxing story of the past few weeks, as I'm sure you can imagine, was the late notice implosion of Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn's fight. I guess, first of all, when you first heard the news that the fight was in danger of not happening because of the test results, what was your initial reaction?
Well, I was deflated, really deflated, and it's not my business. But as a boxing fan, I was looking forward to it.
Yeah.
But then 4 months before that, when I said I was in Sheffield, I think I did do an interview with one of you guys, not you personally, but that was put on me about, what do I think about that fight? And I said, I'd love to see that fight, but I can't see it happening for the simple reason, the two weight differences between the two fighters. If I was training one fighter, I'd want my own way with the weight. If I was training the other fighter, I'd want my own way with the weight. And unless you're working up and close personal with them, it's difficult to, even from a distance, I just felt it wouldn't work. I mean, I don't know how they can make that match. But when the adverse finding come up, I was very, 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 very deflated myself as a boxing fan. Yeah.
Now, Ben's obviously shouldered a share of the flack for it not happening. He insists he's going to clear his name, and we wait to see what happens with that. What a lot of people have criticised is the efforts made by the promoters involved to still try and push ahead with the fight despite the result, and not just the result, but it being made public by the Daily Mail. What did you make of that kind of 2 days in between before they finally cancelled it?
Well, do you know what, Dan? I'm not going to. What it is, I'm not even up to date with it all, but I know what you're saying. But remember, Dan, when these, I can only speak as I'm finding it, as I'm hearing it. But listen, when someone finds out that sort of information, one of the teams have got to be informed. Yeah. Then it's to do with the board, the VADA, I guess, VADA,
yeah,
and the two teams. So it's their business. So I can only say, I'm not speaking up for them because I'm not amongst them teams or that. But they've got to do their due diligence amongst themselves, for a while before they can see light at the end of the tunnel. But that's all I can say on that. So I don't know how long that would take before the press finds out about it, or should we know about it, or should we know about it as well as them teams? No, I don't think so. It's to do with them before. Obviously, the fight's going to take place, so we'll know what's happening. But so I just think that was a natural process, what would have happened in any scenario like that.
Yeah, I agree with you on that completely. I think it's more that when the public did find out, which was because of the Daily Mail broke the story, then they still were talking. I think Eddie Hearn was saying about taking the ball to court potentially to force the fight to happen and so on. Thankfully, it didn't happen because I think that would have been a bad look for boxing if it would have been forced to go ahead. But it was just some people criticised the efforts made to make it happen once everyone already knew.
Yeah, I can understand. I can understand what you just said for sure. And listen, I can't speak for anyone else, but I'm just saying I can understand that. But imagine the disappointing it was for us fans, about for the people who've made investments and all of that. So maybe it was just like a spontaneous, just you've got to get this going sort of thing. I don't know, but the main thing is it never happens, and rightly so.
What do you tell your fighters about kind of supplements and the stuff they take? Because everyone's got a strength and conditioner now. You work with Sonny, obviously. People got their own nutritionists sometimes as well. Do you tell them, go with people you trust? Do you tell them you're responsible for everything that goes in your body, so you need to check it yourself? What's the advice you give your fighters about that sort of stuff?
Well, what it is, Dan, like as they go through the process, the system, yeah, and they're knocking on doors to title fights, yeah, what happens is the system and responsible coaches and teams, build them. We build them, and the system builds them as well. You know what I mean? Because all of a sudden they're fighting for a title, and they've got to enroll in a VADA or some. They have drug tests, so to speak. So we do our best to just to to play the game, so to speak. But my fighters, the fighters I've been involved with, unless they're when they get very, very big, other strength and conditioners come on board, and it's, sometimes you're not happy with it, but you oversee it. But you can't be living with your fighter 24/7. So you can't keep whoever blows down their ear holes. It's frustrating for us head coaches, very frustrating. But the fighter, is responsible for who he's. He can always. It's the fighter's responsibility to have whoever's blowing or advising him. They got to know. I'm not too sure. I don't want to dig myself a hole here. So.
No, I understand.
But the system builds you, and you should know better. Put it that way. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Good stuff. Mark, really appreciate your time. It's always a pleasure. And let's catch up again before the show in October, at the end of October.
Lovely, Dan. Thanks very much, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Good